As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
One of the worst performances of my career, and they never doubted it for a second.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Son of a bitch. He stole my life.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Welcome back to the Shot by Shot podcast, where today we're finally talking a Wes Anderson film after the release of his new film, The Phoenician Scheme, which is another one with an insanely huge cast, probably a bit more streamlined with a more central protagonist and that you can follow compared to his other films with big casts. We've got Benicio del Toro, Mia Farrow with her first big role, Mako Cera, Riz Ahmed, Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Jeffrey Wright, so many great actors in here. First project working with cinematographer Bruno Del Bonell, which is a couple of films like Amory, the Harry Potter movies, Inside Llewyn Davies, a lot of stuff with the Coen brothers. Don't think there's any struggle switching over to a different DP. I think he's pretty consistent with his style, even in this movie. At least consistent with Asteroid City and French Dispatch. Maybe not top tier Wes like his last film was, but I think it was a really good film from this year. Film that's not had a lot of good films, but I was really excited for Wes Anderson, and he did not disappoint me. I really liked this. A good father-daughter relationship. What Oscar? I'll go to you first. What did you think about The Finishing Scheme?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. Coming off the back of Asteroid City, which I think is probably my favorite film of his, maybe closely alongside Fantastic Mr. Fox. So I had, at the same time, I had good high hopes for this that he could follow on from Asteroid City and not return to the kind of middle ground form that I kind of relate him with. You know, I'm not a massive obsessor over this symmetry style of his. I would like him to see. I would like him to do something different, and I think for the majority of his film, that style is really working against what's being done here. And it honestly felt like he hardly committed to it as well. I don't know. There was something about it that felt really odd this time round, and its narrative is not so interesting, and its characters are fine, but yeah, its comedy though was landing more than I expected, which was a massive plus. But yeah, good, not great. I think it's just fine overall.
Yeah, I'm not a massive Wes fan by any means, but I don't know what it was about this. Maybe the character work in this, the chemistry between Benicio del Toro and the trio. It's stylistically, it's the complete same as his other films, so I'm a little bit confused as to why the big Wes fans are suddenly falling out a little bit with this one. Maybe it is the plot, but I do agree the plot is weak. It's very blatantly structured into different segments, and it's sort of used as a vessel for these three to riff off each other. Michael Cera in the first half, especially, is always in the background, which does pay off with the reveal later. You wondered why he's just sat here all the time, but he's like quipping in the corner. The comedy hit rate in this is like insane. I didn't actually think Wes had that in him, because though there are other Wes films I enjoy, I've never laughed out loud at a Wes film, I don't think. Grand Budapest is a little bit funny, but I'd never get as many audible laughs as this one did. Especially the Bryan Cranston, Tom Hanks scene. Those two are really like flexing their comedy chops. But yeah, I'm not sure. I would like to delve deeper into why some of the big Wes fans aren't liking this as much, because I think this is a big step up from his previous film, which everyone loved and I didn't like. I think that was really focused on style, and I could not get on with that big ensemble cast. It was the same with French Dispatch. That's another big ensemble cast, and that was not hitting for me in any way, not humor wise or like character relationship wise. But yeah, it's probably my favorite live action Wes. It does need to simmer still, and it does have the advantage of being watched in a cinema, which I don't think I've seen any other Wes films in the cinema. But character relationship wise, I think it's his best since like Darjeeling for me.
Interesting. That's interesting because I think Asteroid City complements his style and the level of emotion that film is going for really, really well. Um, and I don't know, I just really wasn't feeling anything in this. I think bigger there's a lot bigger task and complexity with Asteroid City that Wes takes on, and I think it does really work well with what it's going for. And I don't know, this just the style is his style in this one just um wasn't really doing a whole lot for me.
Yeah, I don't think there's maybe more layers to something like Asteroid City to kind of break down. I was a bit, I was honestly a bit confused at times in this movie, like trying to follow it, even though it was quite simple and structured. I think just Wes Anderson's style. I was wanting to look at what was on screen, and he's got a lot of fast talking, people kind of explaining what's happening, and I kind of got lost at times. Rewatched it, and I got a lot better grasp of what he was trying to kind of say with this movie, and kind of understood the whole structure that he was going for because he splits this movie up into, well, quite similar like Asteroid City, kind of splits it up into chapters where they go to different locations. And I like Asteroid City, it's very artificial. It's not like this is not really set in any like real world. Although that was like a play, which it made sense. This is more like just like a very artificial, real world kind of 1950s kind of setting, which is a bit weird, but I really like the kind of artificial side to his films. Like he's got a lot of like practical effects and really look. They're kind of unique to Wes Anderson. They're almost like stop motion, but I think they are visual effects. Very films that look fully practical, but there's so many editing and like visual effects tricks going on the screen. If you've seen the breakdown of Asteroid City and how much like so much small stuff in that is really just broke down and edited and put in through visual effects, it's not there on screen. I really love his style. I don't think it overtakes it. I think telling him like to not go with style is really just telling him like to not be in his own like kind of way. He can't change how he likes to make his films. I don't think there's any gimmick that people like to say that he likes to do. I don't think it's quite as simple as just symmetry. Because we've seen people try to replicate it. I mean, like there's like online trends trying to do the Wes Anderson style, and it's just not Wes Anderson. Like only he can really do it. I mean, I think people just quite simplify what his kind of style is quite a lot. He's such a weird director because I feel like he is one of the most well-known directors around, but none of his films are like really big hits at all, and they never really even get award buzz either. They sit in a weird middle place where I think everybody most well, he's quite a polarizing director and he does quite well popularity wise, but he never really does well on either side of that spectrum. It's a weird one where he kind of sits even in his own genre. Like the Wes Anderson film is a style that is really quite unique to anything else out there.
I was hoping that I would like this more, but yeah, people just seem to um be finding this fairly inaccessible. Um, and like you said, with that trend, it's always funny when that kind of trend was big around Asteroid City time. Watching people who had no idea what, like, their only idea of Wes Anderson was what they'd seen from that trend, like going into watching that and being so bewildered was hilarious because I think that's
Mm.
the last film I would show to someone if they're going through his filmography, without a doubt. It's really not a good place to start. Um, but yeah, the cast is for the most part. Obviously, there are kind of with such the usual big ensembles, limited amounts of screen time, which they're kind of confined to single scenes, really. But yeah, Michael Cera for me, the big standout, and I did find myself laughing more than I usually do with this kind of dry humor that Wes really likes to go for. But with someone like Benicio, there's something really punchy about it as well, um, and just so straight faced and yeah, dry basically. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's interesting.
I agree with that on the humor. I think the absurd style, and then you combine it with the dry humor. It really plays off each other pretty well. I think his humor tends to be a little bit more American catering usually, and it, like I said, it goes with his style. But when you have what was her name, the main girl, Mia Freepleson, she was really good. It sounded like she was sort of half-assed her lines. Obviously, she wasn't, but the way she deadpan line delivers everything, and then you've got Michael Cera doing that really strange accent, and then Benicio del Toro is just such a cool pick as a Wes protagonist. You would never pick him out of all actors to star in a Wes film, but like you said, he has a weird aura about him where you do believe that he's this complex, shady character, but at the same time, he really delivers and mellows out with this father-daughter relationship. So yeah, I think, like I said, character relationships. My favorite films of his are Darjeeling and this one. Darjeeling is really believable, obviously, because Luke and Owen Wilson are actually brothers, and that brother camaraderie really pulls through in that film. And this one, I don't think he's done like a father-daughter sort of film before, and that really hit well with me.
Yeah, I think the father-daughter relationship was inspired because he just recently had his first daughter, I think.
Yeah,
So he wanted to write a story, but or I don't think it's based on anything obviously in his real life, but he just wanted to center it around that relationship. And I really like that relationship on rewatch. That's basically what like you've got all this like convoluted plan about creating the Phoenician scheme and getting money from people, but that really is kind of the core of the movie. And it starts off in the plane crash. I think the plane crash at the very start is amazing when you get like the guy's body ripped in half.
It
And
comes out of
Benicio,
nowhere. That took me completely by left field.
yeah,
That guy just getting ripped in half.
I love just those little like small details in Wes's movies where I was saying it's like stop motion or miniatures and stuff. I'd love to see the breakdown of how they even done that. I'm sure it's a lot more complicated than you'd even think. But I love that like scene where he's like walking up to the pilot in the plane. He ejects him and then they crash. And this is really like the point in the movie that really sets out everything where I guess he goes to heaven and he's kind of like interrogated by Willem Dafoe and Bill Murray and people like that about his lives. Obviously, he's a bad guy. He's kind of interrogated and just like criticized, and I think that's a point where he like, really decides to recover the relationship with his only daughter because he has one daughter and 9 boys, is it?
yeah. They do funny
And
jokes
yeah,
with those kids. To be fair, like they're constantly trying to kill
Yeah,
him, like kid with a crossbow, and then there's the running gag with the grenades and the plane constantly being threatened to crash. It does really well at re-sprucing the same joke over and over again. This film.
I think some of the funniest scenes is the relationship between Benicio and the 9 sons that he has. Those kind of dinner scenes um, were played off really, really well. And I think on a like a scene to scene basis, I think this film is better uh, looked at in that stance than something as like an overall cohesive thing. So I don't think it really quite equates to the sum of its parts. But scene to scene, it works. But yeah, I don't know. I just expecting more overall. Um, yeah, and you were talking about the miniatures, but some of those like interior wide shots, especially at their kind of like main place, it look like a museum or whatever. It does look like miniatures, and it even though there's kind of characters in there, there's that kind of the lens and the look and the focus is quite unique. But yeah, that was really good.
yeah, I really love the kind of symmetrical layout of the production design and it's his house and the mansion. I love that like first scene where
Mm.
he's meeting with his daughter. You've got Michael Cera just like sitting in the corner, and you see him through this like small gap in the table. They've realized that he's been like eavesdropping on their conversation this whole time. I don't remember what he says, but his voice is so funny.
His Norwegian accent, I think it is, and we'll get into spoilers now. So he's in disguise, and like he has this Norwegian accent for the first time of the film, which is so funny. The pronunciations, there's something so good, but at the same time, there's something so off about it that you kind of know um, something's going to happen, and um, yeah, just some of the words like the way he pronounces trolley, and it's in the trailer as well. And that every time I hear that, it just makes me laugh. It's quite funny, but yeah, he he was really on his own game here. I think he's always been a great actor, and I think he does complement this staler approach to comedy than obviously he's good and super bad and things like that, but yeah, there's something that just felt right seeing him in a Wes film that yeah paid off perfectly, and especially that kind of scene where he switches and kind of reveals his identity was really brilliant.
Has Richard Ayoade been in a Wes film before this? Because he's like another one where
Ooh.
He's in the shorts that he done, I think, for
the
Netflix.
short. I'm not going to count that, even
Oh
though
yes.
okay, he's been in shorts. But yeah, for like a feature film, he's another one where his sort. I don't think he's that funny to be honest, but his sort of humor definitely goes hand in hand with Wes. And then touching on the heaven stuff you were talking about, I'm assuming it's heaven. That's such a like. That's not something Wes does often. You know, it's not straightforward. It's really surreal. I still think he just wanted Willem Dafoe to like aura farm and wear like a weird costume. Um, but I don't know. Those scenes were really interesting to like show his changing attitude towards his relationship with his daughter. Obviously, the film's quite touches on faith a lot. They have that well, that fake wedding that they annul immediately. The Pope is just a character at the end as well. It's really the main plot is so straightforward and kind of stale in a way. It's really carried by the characters' performances. I think having such a weird, surreal imagery in the film really lends to it well. And then obviously the monochrome colors isn't something Wes does often, but I think in his style it looked really good.
That kind of black and white use in Asteroid City. Has he done it anywhere else? I can't remember. Yeah, I've forgotten most of his
Unless he
other
done it
films.
in French Dispatch, I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Mm, yeah, it's really interesting. Obviously, in Asteroid City, it's kind of this switch between realities. One's the play, one's the kind of behind the scenes, I guess, which is really interesting. And um, yeah, those those scenes were so funny. As I had no idea. Did we even know Willem Dafoe was in this before? I hadn't seen anything casting, so when I like saw him, I was like, oh, I was actually surprised, and Bill Murray as well. But obviously, they're kind of they're regulars. Um, but yeah, he does just kind of find excuses to put them in their films. And I don't know, yeah, Bill Murray just being God was, and the wigs and everything, the hair was it was crazy. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting aspect to the film. And someone on Twitter said that Benicio del Toro looks like Post Malone when he's in those scenes, and I can't unsee it. I cannot
Kind of
unsee it.
looks
It's
like his
absolutely
French
hilarious.
Dispatch character, you know, the painter.
Yeah, he
Kind of
does.
looks
He
more like
does.
that.
Definitely. That's so funny.
I didn't even recognize Bill Murray. I must have had my eyes closed, and I saw
He's
it in
got
the
a lot of
cinema.
makeup on.
He does. I thought
Yeah.
I'd recognize his voice. I saw he was in it, and then when I left, I was like, "Where's Bill Murray?" That makes sense. That is like classic, like insane Wes ensemble. I mean, Scarlett Johansson can't be cheap unless she's took like a pay cut to be in this, and she's in the film for like 10 minutes. I think her section,
This is the only real movie she gets to do when she works with him.
yeah, and
So
she only gets like 10 minutes. Her section's really weak. I thought, by the way, it's only like 10 minutes long. I don't really remember any of the
yeah,
jokes.
I don't think it's even 10 minutes. It's very
Yeah,
just left on the end there.
so I think she was just trying to fill a real film quota, like you said. I don't think she had any importance until the end. And then Benedict Cumberbatch is also in a real film again. He also doesn't get very long, but he's kind of a funny villain. In fact, he has his own grenades. It's pretty funny because he gets offered a grenade at the end. That's like another weird on running joke. I don't know what you thought at the end of the film. I thought the like big display of the Phoenician scheme was quite cool imagery at the end with like the climax.
Yeah, I liked the fight. I thought that was funny. It was kind of like the moment where he really kind of broke away from his like static shots to really just I don't even know. That was wild when they're like wrestling together. I think it only has like the only like steady cam shot in the movie as well. When they're like running
Oh
through
yeah,
the like rooms. um, I don't know. I still don't really understand what the Phoenician scheme like really was, other than just like
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
don't.
don't either.
just a way to make money.
Yeah, yeah, I generally have no idea.
I mean, the synopsis on Letterboxd is literally like 7, 8 words. It's the story of a family and
Yeah.
a family business. So it feels like the plot was just an afterthought for this, and just to get like jokes
Mm,
written about it.
Well,
Because
I think the business side is an afterthought to just the relationship is
yeah,
like the
it's
main
just all
focus.
relationship focused. It's just an excuse to have like playing basketball with Tom Hanks and stuff like that. I don't know.
That's the best scene.
That
I
is the
love
best.
that scene so
I
much.
think that's the funniest scene in the
mm.
film. It's really good. Bryan Cranston
It's the
pretending to be like
way.
a 18-year-old is so good.
It's that specific those character movements when they're playing it when they're like running up. There's something about it that is just very Wes and so um just weird, but in a good way. It's kind of like the way he animates his stop motion characters, and to see, especially someone like Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks, it is quite funny. Um, yeah, that scene was it kind of took me by surprise. I don't know. I really wasn't expecting it.
Cuts
Bryan
to
Cranston was known as like the like studio or the sitcom guy before Breaking Bad, and I feel like he's known as just the Bad guy, and like
oh yeah,
people weren't really aware of how funny he really is. And
Mm,
he's been was he in? Yeah, he was in Asteroid City as well. And I think their relationship's really good, and he was really funny in the studio this year. So I think he's really showing again just how funny of a guy he is. I really thought he was. He may have been on like Meg Sarah's level if he'd had as much screen time.
yeah, I agree. But I
mm,
think it was quite good that he only had like 5 minutes because he had impact.
Mm.
It cuts also in that scene to Michael Cera and I forgot her name again. Though Mia's character in the train, and she's like slowly being corrupted every time they visit a new place with Phoenician schemes. So she starts drinking beer, and then she's drinking wine, and then smoking a cigar, and then she gets bought a brand new cigar. That was quite funny, I thought. And then obviously it pays off at the end. The ending is quite nice. It's quite like soppy, even though he loses all his
Hmm.
money. It's like there's a Mekis ending. He runs his own restaurant. That's quite a cool ending. I thought
Reminded
very
me of
like
Grand Budapest Hotel. Really, kind of
yeah, yeah. I'd like French
just loving with a
Dispatch
simple.
sort of aura.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just happy. Really enjoyed a Wes film because I was losing faith in him. To be honest, everyone loved Asteroid City. I don't know what people think of French Dispatch. I think that's a bit more
it's
divisive.
not very good.
I think it's really bad.
I
Like
love it.
my least favorite West film is Moonrise Kingdom. That I think I can't stand the kids in that film. His style plus kids.
Mm.
I absolutely hate that film. Um, and then yeah, French Dispatch did not work for me. The individual stories. Asteroid City was like a step in the right direction, and then the the character work in this is like top tier. I don't know what he's going to do next because his output's kind of insane this decade. He obviously did all those shorts and then Asteroid City before that. I don't know if he's got a new film in the
He does.
works.
He's
Do we
already
know?
writing one with Roman Coppola. They announced the
Oh,
the,
another
the
one.
Cannes like press conference.
Do we know what it's about?
I think he just said it was very dark. So I'm imagining something
Oh
that's
right.
pretty different to the rest of his movies.
I can't even think of a
Interesting.
dark one. I guess Royal Tenenbaums gets pretty dark, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever done a fully dark. That could be interesting. I'm glad he's trying something else. His animated
Interesting.
films are my favourites, though. I think his style works best when he can go full
Do
surreal.
you
Like
really like Isle of Dogs?
it's really good, but I think Fantastic Mr. Fox is his best film, like in general. I think
Mm.
that's a common opinion. To be fair, the stop
Yeah, it's
motion
definitely up there.
combined with his humor and style, I think he can go fully surreal with it. It's really good.
I
Mm.
think Fantastic Mr. Fox might be the best animated movie ever. I'll go that far.
That's mad. I don't agree with that, but
That's
I can
crazy.
back that.
Nuh-uh. Right here.
Akira.
Okay, nah, it's like
That's a good film.
good 3.5.
Coming from you, that's crazy. You need to
I know.
rewatch that.
He's not actually a glazer of anime. He just pretends.
Yeah, Ryan's the real blazer.
I think it does have that kind of like core. I mean, a lot of these films have that core relationship. I think there's pretty good character writing in most of them, which I never get. Like the cold that people say these movies are cold. I think they always kind of have these like really core emotional relationships between the characters. I think his style has developed a lot, especially since French Dispatch onwards is kind of like a new era of Wes. Even like the Criterion collection they've released is kind of like only went up to it's only 25 years. It kind of does feel like the 2020s is kind of like a new era for Wes, and I think his
Mm,
style has kind of been consistent across those three movies. Um, yeah, I'm really enjoying his new way of doing it. Um, 'Cause I feel like you do kind of see a progression across these films. I mean, there's like a lot of like handheld cinematography and like Royal Tenenbaums, for example, that I noticed. A lot of got a lot more confident as he's went along and just kind of found a new kind of style that people have learned to see as the Wes Anderson style. And what did you rate it?
4.5, but
I
I'm
gave it
still waiting to hear what
I gave it a 3 out of 5.
yeah,
Yeah, I gave it a 3.5, a strong 3.5. I've got it now after watching it twice. Kind of middle of the road Wes, but that's still a really good film in my books. Since we're now at the halfway point of 2025, we're gonna go through with a collaborative ranking of what we think is the best releases so far, and then maybe compare it to how we feel in a couple of months where a lot of the big movies have come out or other big movies have come out.
There we go.
Yeah, we're gonna spin the wheel to decide who gets to go for its collaborative ranking. Who gets the first pick? Daniel. I don't. Is that a
Damn
good
it.
placement to get?
I don't know. Is this 10th then in the top 10
Yeah.
list? Um, I think.
You get first, so that's great.
Do I get first? Oh.
Yeah, you get first.
Oh my god.
Then Oscar.
Okay, Daniel, you are up first. What is number 10?
Okay, collaborative ranking number 10
Mm.
because I think strategically, because there are some films that I'll not have as high, but I think if we're doing a collaborative list, I want it to look good.
Mm.
I will. I might as well pick something new we've seen. I'll go with The Surfer, which is Nick Cage. I think that deserves a low top 10.
Interesting.
I have it ninth in my own year list,
Interesting.
but that's like it's like a more chilled out. It's like a more chilled out Mandy. It's not that violent. It's just Nick Cage very very angry. He has a nice little Australian holiday. It's probably one of those like free holiday films that he has, but it is an actually well written film. It's about like toxic masculinity. I know there's a lot of films like that nowadays. He's like the only guy in it I think people would recognise. But yeah, it's good. He has his surfboard stolen, and he will not let it go, despite his life falling apart because of it. It's quite trippy. It's definitely a summer film. It came out in like winter here, I think, or like early spring. But I'm not sure if it's had a general release yet because I watched it early, but it's very
I
good.
think it has.
It has. I think it was quite limited, but yeah, good film. Nick Cage keeps having a little renaissance for independent cinema in the 2020s. Is good.
Interesting. I think my top 10s are going to be a lot different to yours. It's quite a few films that I've seen. How many films I'm on? 34 this year so far. What are you guys on actually?
20.
20.
24.
24. Okay. Um, for number 9, I'm going to go for a film called Happy End. One word. I think it comes out here in maybe a few months' time, actually. But I saw it at London Film Festival last year. Really, really fantastic film. Kind of coming of age film set in a near future Tokyo. Kind of about these high school kids and the beginning of kind of totalitarian authorities. You know, there's cameras and advanced security systems being set up in their school, although they're kind of restricting their freedom. Great school is very touching. Manages to make it quite international as well, and kind of linked in with Japan's kind of ever looming threat of earthquakes as well. And it's just really nice and slightly unique twist on a coming of age film that is just as relevant despite being slightly sci-fi-y. But yeah, would highly recommend when it comes out.
Nice. Number 8. I'm gonna go for one that I think is polarizing between the three of us, but I'm gonna go Companion from Drew Hancock,
That's
the
fair.
writer of
You've
Fred
ruined
3.
it. You've absolutely
fair.
ruined it. You've ruined it already. We're
I have it
sticking
eight.
up the top 10 already.
I have it 8.
It only
too.
took 3 picks. Where is it on mine? It's 27th on my list, honestly.
27th? Oh my
Wow.
god.
Yeah, bad film.
Okay.
Bad film.
It's 7th on mine. From Drew Hancock, his debut, starring Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid had 2025 on his back for a good
Carrying
couple
it, him
months
and
here.
Soderbergh, yeah.
Yeah, just a really fun horror kind of action, science fiction kind of riff on Terminator in a way, and kind of using AI. I don't want to spoil it because it's best to go in blind in this movie if you've not already had it spoiled. Don't look at any trailers or even the
It's a
poster. I
bad
think even the
film.
poster's a spoiler.
It's a bad film. No need to bother with it.
Fun time. Yeah. I think there's been some good horror this year, and that's up there. I think number 7.
This is number 7.
You're number 6.
I'm number 6. Okay. Well, it's my number 5. This will piss Ryan off. Oscar will be happy though. I'll go Black Bag because
Yes.
It's being disrespected
Nice.
in some circles.
But that's not ruining the list.
They can't handle
The rest has
tight
already
little-
been. The list is so
Can't
far
handle a
gone.
little-
What pick is this? Is this pick 7?
six.
Sorry.
I thought it was 7.
6.
No, because Daniel's 10. I was 9.
9, 8,
Ryan
7.
was 8.
Yeah, that was it. Oh
and-
yeah, never mind. I can't count.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is 7. This is 7.
So Black Bag, it's a tight little, very dialogue-heavy driven little spy thriller. There's a lot of sitting around tables, which some people don't like, but I thought the relationship between everyone in the film's really good. Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender are always good on screen, even when they're in slop. They at least have some sort of pull to the viewer.
You're calling this slop?
It's not slop. I'm just calling like Borderlands slop. No, this is like not Soderbergh at his best by any means, but you know, he delivered a nice 4 right at the start of the year, and so he did as well with Presence. Him and Jack Quaid, you know, had to keep cinema alive until other directors woke up. I think people who don't like this being very ungrateful to Steven, to be honest. Don't expect like a grand spy thriller, but that's why I kind of liked it. I think the core relationship between Fassbender and Blanchette's really good, and like the way they think. Well, I can't spoil it, but deception plays a big part in it. It's really good.
It is a great
worst,
film.
possibly. My God, worst.
It's a great film. It's a great film. For pick number 6, I've got so many ahead of me that you guys just haven't seen. They're just not going to get in. So I'm just going to have to pick in. How many picks have I got left? I've got 2 picks left, and like none of them are going to get picked. Well, Daniel's seen one of them, but he doesn't consider it a 2025 release, so which is wrong.
It's not. I know what you're on about.
It is. It is a 2025 release.
You're changing the rules from a couple of years ago. You
No,
used to
I'm
chat with
not.
me. this. You are. Just put it
I'm
in 'cause it's a
not.
good film. I won't get angry,
No, but there's
even if it's not illegible.
I'm just trying to think. I'm gonna go a bit higher than what my number 6 is. I am going to this next film. I'm going to go for a film called Seven Veils. I hate Letterboxd because for some reason they keep on going by film festival premiere dates as their dates. This premiered at Toronto Film Festival in 2023.
Oh god, that's horrible.
Didn't really get great distribution, but got released in the US this year. It doesn't look like it's going to get released in the UK. I watched it anyway. Really fascinating film from a Canadian director called Atom Egoyan. Great name. First name called Atom. That's crazy. What a name. Stars Amanda Seyfried. She is this opera director directing a remake of a play that I've forgotten the name of, and from I think it was was it her father or kind of mentor who did it? Kind of reminds me of Inland Empire a tiny bit, that kind of premise. But this kind of deals with past sexual trauma and violence. Some actually genuinely good grief-driven films this year. Usually, I'm really critical of them, but there genuinely been so many ones where the kind of imagery is matching up with what is happening, and it's unique. And this film has some great bits of digital photography and just in general this kind of use of shadows. Thought was really fascinating, and it is a really great film. And I watched a film called Exotica, which was kind of director's breakout film in '94, which is one of the best films I've seen all year. But yeah, really interesting film.
Yeah, honorable mention to Women in the Yard for grief-driven horror this year. I'm not
Yes,
going to pick that. I don't think it's going to get picked up yet anymore because it's very high up now. But
mm,
also the other Soderbergh movie, I don't think that may get picked recently, but or
mm,
after me, I thought that was better than Black Bag. But I'm
I
gonna
agree.
go with this won't get picked, so I'm gonna go for Mickey 17.
Mm.
Done an episode on
oh,
it where I
thinking it
thought
up again.
You know
it's not stinking it off.
that's aging really
It
bad for me. I'm
is.
gonna do that gimmick. I'm gonna do that gimmick.
Aging
But that's
bad.
aging
Wow.
really bad. It might drop
The
down.
aging fancy gimmick.
It might drop down a rate again. It's really not aging well.
What?
I hate
It's
that last
really not.
fight.
So fun.
It's
That
really
last
not
fight
that good.
Paul.
It's so degrading. It's like after the first bit, it really just goes nowhere, and the humor just drops off a cliff.
No,
I
I
just
think it's so blatantly like on a different level to pretty much everything else that's come out
He's
this year.
trying to be Verhoeven so badly in that film, and it just does not work.
I love Bong, but that last act, I was like actually falling asleep. I hated that last act so much.
No.
The like weird alien things. They should have been all focused on Mickey as the character. They didn't know what it was doing. It was all over the place.
Hmm.
He'll be back though with a banger. I'm not giving up on him.
Yeah. Yeah, but kind of hurt by the fact that it wasn't Parasite level, but
No,
I think it's still better than most everything. Is that number 6? 5?
No, that's number 5.
it'd be
That's
five.
number 5.
Mine's 4. You said it wouldn't be picked, but I'm picking Presence because it's free in my own list. I agree. I think it's better than Black Bag. It's pretty interesting. You can tell he like if you're gonna make 2 films in one year, this is one to make because it's the like simplest film ever made, filming style wise. But I quite liked the handheld walking around a house. I love single location films. Goes in a direction I didn't expect at the very end. Quite a good ending. Reminded me of Late Mungo, which I like glaze all the time. Is a great horror film. At the end, not a scary horror film. You're not gonna be there getting jump scared, but I think the atmosphere is really good. And I hope Soderbergh dives into horror more. I can't see it even being top 10 by the end of the year, but I'm just working with what I've got. I could have put Bloodlines in fourth, but I think that would have caused a bit of drama because I like that way more than you two. And
I would
Oscar
have
should
liked
be
Bloodlines are.
really. Oscar should be happy I
Yeah.
didn't pick Novocaine in this list. 'Cause
Oh,
that's seventh
this
for
I've
list
my
has
only
list.
already
seen it.
been
Just
ruined
hate it. Well,
more
Vicking's
than
fun.
once. Mm.
I have Jack Quaid in eighth and seventh in my list, but I'm gonna skip it.
Oh dear. There's so many films I want to go for, but I'm just going to go for my favorite film of the year at number three. I know, but I don't have another pick, so I am going to go for Giazanki's "Caught by the Tides." Kind of his magnum opus, really. It is it's such an interesting film and very unique for kind of the first two acts. It's using footage from two of his previous films, Still Life and Unknown Pleasures, like deleted scenes and kind of archival footage behind the scenes to make this new narrative, and it encompasses his whole career and China's movement in this kind of struggling kind of middle working class, more working class areas, and about people kind of getting lost in the system, being caught by the tides. And it spans 20 odd years, and is really really unique and incredibly beautiful, and my first 5-star of the year. But that is number 3 on our collaborative ranking, even though it's number 1 on my list.
Yeah, none of us have seen it. But
Don't
for number
watch it first.
three, huh?
Don't watch his first film.
Right.
Definitely a kind of end of filmography type watch.
Cool. Um, for number three, I'm gonna go with the Phoenician Scheme again. Probably not the level that I thought it would be because I thought it would end up maybe being like a final 10 of the year level film, but I don't think it's gonna drop that far off. Come the end of the year because I still think this is a really good film. I love Wes Anderson. I'll definitely be revisiting this whenever one of his movies ever comes out. Yeah, it's just that second watch has really solidified it. It's just kind of like a really good Wes Anderson film. I think not everything has to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. Like I feel like a lot of people just put every new film that comes out into those kind of two brackets. That a film can just be good, and I'm satisfied from just getting a lot of Wes Anderson this decade.
You're solidifying my objectivity because now I can have my exact top two because I have Phoenician Scheme second in my number one for me is obviously I think it's the best film of the year by a mile is Sinners. Um, I think it's the only film close to a five that I've seen this year. Maybe on rewatch it would be a five. It'd have to be in a cinema, I think, but it's gonna go down as a classic. I think it's like I can see it being like Get Out tier of talked about in the 21st century horror. Loads of people saw it. It's been a real win for cinema that film this year, probably the biggest yet. Because we've got like Minecraft movie and Lilo and Stitch farming money, but it's at least we have like Sinners and Coogler. That really shows Coogler's pull. Actually, I think he did have a big impact on that pull he got just from Black Panther. So yeah, I don't know. Vampire films are very much back this decade. Nosferatu is really good as well. Yeah, I think the best film of the year is Sinners.
I agree. I'm so happy that it's doing really well. I think it's at 300 million worldwide now, possibly. I think it has reached that, which is a huge win for, I think, the best opening for an original film. Really happy to see it do that well. Horror kind of generally has that like insane box office pull, but I did not expect this to do that well. And I think there's talks of a sequel, which isn't the greatest,
Oh
but
They're
no,
definitely
I
there
think
will
please
it
be.
goes to show
no.
how
They
Please
how
definitely will
successful
be.
it was.
no. It has made 340 million
They're
worldwide.
gonna milk it, unfortunately.
Oh god.
It got one and a
Please
half million
no.
views on Letterboxd as well. It did really well. It's a real triumph for cinema this year. Actually,
Mm.
speaking of the year in general, I don't really know what's going to top it, and I hope something does. 'Cause that mean I'd have no
Oh,
fun.
there's going to be a damn good year.
Avatar.
That's not
There's
even going to
gonna
be like
be-
top 20 for me. I'm gonna have to watch it in cinema though. I didn't see Avatar 2 in cinema.
Watch it in cinema with your 3D
There's so
glasses on
many good
My
things coming
popcorn
up
and
this
in front
3D
of a big
glasses.
screen.
The big letdown of the year is Mickey 17, though. I don't even think it should be in this list. That was my heartbreak of the year. I thought
Is
for
that in
sure
your
that
top
was my
10?
No, it's 11th. I thought is it next to Thunderbolts. Um, Thunderbolts being 12 shows how kind of awful the back end, like rubbish films of the year have been. We've had the Monkey, Minecraft, Electric State. I didn't even watch Captain America. I'm never watching that. Lilo and Stitch is probably down there. Yeah, not a lot of slop already this year.
Mm.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch sounds horrible. I mean, Electric State, Minecraft moving, Captain America is like a diabolical bomb free, and we're only halfway
Oh, yeah.
Warfare's down there for me. It's not that level though. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, that film. It's pretty bad. Hurry Up Tomorrow when that drops on digital. We'll be watching that.
Oh, we
That
hate
looks
watching
pretty horrendous. Yeah, I hate watching that. That looks pretty horrendous. What else? Oh, my letterbox is not even loading. One moment. And what else do I have
I think
down
it's
there?
down, unfortunately.
Oh, goodness sake, man. They are so
Uh,
bad.
it, as much as my top 10 is actually kind of filled with horror, but so is my bottom 10. There's Opus, which I think was just very
Opus was
generic.
not that bad. It was fairly generic,
It
but
was,
I
it
don't
was so
know.
generic.
I'm not watching that.
It
Midsommar
was, but
and
I
Get
don't
Out,
know.
but really bad.
We're not doing
Um,
a Blink Twice rip off a year after it's out. I'm not watching that.
Blink Twice is a bad film, though. Opus is
That's
better
all
than
right.
Blink
That's all right.
Twice.
Blink Twice. I don't need to see the same
The
film.
Monkey, Death of a
That is
Unicorn,
awful.
Until Dawn, all
Death of
terrible,
the
terrible
Unicorn.
films.
Oh my god. Yeah, we've had a stinking like slop run this year. Actually, I've not seen some of this.
Thunderbolts
Thunderbolts
was
isn't that
bad. Final Reckoning was bad. Wolfman was pretty bad. But there has been some great. I have 13 films that are 3.5 stars and above. I don't know about you guys, but
You've seen films that don't exist, though.
Yeah,
Skill issue.
My top 10 is a 3.5 and up. It's definitely in its infancy. 'Cause I'll finish. I've got 20 at the minute. I'll finish the year on about 60, 70 usually. So my top 10 might not
Yeah,
even be. Apart from Sinners, I don't think it'll be the same at all.
I usually get near 100. Yeah, sometimes
I'm
over.
trying not to this year.
No,
No, but the thing is, to be fair, I'm kind of the same. Definitely more so, but there is genuinely a lot of films I do want to see this year. I think come festival season is going to be really, really great. I'm going to try and see loads of films at London Film Festival this year, more than usual. A lot of smaller things that I've just added to my kind of most anticipated list. But yeah, I am looking forward to the back half of this year because it looks so much more promising, as always, in the opening half.
Also shout out Tornado by John McClane, which is his first film in, is it 14 years? 12 years?
No, slow less.
No,
Slow
2015, 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. I think it was
Yeah,
10
which
years.
was seen at Glasgow Film Festival. And I think that comes out in 2 weeks. Don't know how much for a wide release it will be, but go see that if you have it and if you're new. Alright, that's our halfway point 2025 ranked. Hopefully looks a much better when we do this again in like 6 months or whatever. Looks like a very promising year. But yeah, let us know what's top of your 2025 ranking so far and where does Phoenician Scheme land on it. And we'll be back next week for something else. See ya.
Bye.